New details about what the FBI seized during a search of the home and office of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton.
John Bolton has long cultivated the image of a hawkish, provocative, no-compromise figure. The kind of national security gadfly who courts controversy by design. But recent developments involving the FBI have placed him at the very center of a story that reads like a political thriller with courtroom drama, intelligence intrigues, and the ever-looming specter of retaliation against adversaries. What exactly is happening between Bolton and the FBI? What are the legal, political, and personal stakes? The answers are still unfolding, but the contours are becoming clearer. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. It began on August 22, 2025, when FBI agents executed coordinated searches of both Bolton's Bethesda, Maryland home and his Washington, D.C. office. The operation was carried out under search warrants approved by federal judges, and it appears to have been driven by suspicions that he unlawfully retained classified materials. From the very start, that dual raid captured public attention not only because of Bolton's status as a former national security advisor and vocal Trump critic, but because it signaled that the Justice Department was willing to move aggressively, even against someone in Bolton's position. The unsealed court documents later revealed that agents seized a trove of materials, some labeled secret, confidential, or classified. The inventory was sweeping. Binders marked statements and reflections to Allied strikes, typed documents organized under Trump 14, computers, hard drives, USB devices, phones, and other storage media. Among the seized items were materials apparently tied to weapons of mass destruction, U.S. missions at the United Nations, and strategic communications. Earlier, the FBI also looked through electronic devices and metadata, possibly seeking traces of classified transmissions. The sheer volume and variety of items taken suggests that investigators were not merely fishing. They believed they had reason to think Bolton held materials of enduring national security value. Bolton's camp has responded forcefully. His attorneys, particularly Abby Lowell, have maintained that many of the documents date back decades, some arising during his tenure and earlier administrations, and that they were either properly cleared or simply part of routine retention by someone with Bolton's long institutional memory. In public appearances, Bolton has denied that his 2020 memoir, The Room Where It Happened, includes classified material, emphasizing that it underwent pre-publication review. But that defense is complicated by the newly revealed categorization of documents in the raid and by lingering questions about his private email and communications practices. One such question concerns Bolton's use of a private AOL email account while serving in government and whether that account was hacked by a foreign entity. The unsealed affidavits reference a breach and hint that sensitive communications may have passed through that account, possibly exposing them to external access. That raises a delicate double track. If Bolton knowingly used personal accounts to handle government documents, he may have violated classification rules. If foreign actors intercepted them, the damage to national security could be real even if his intent was benign. This current investigation is not entirely new. In fact, prosecutors in the Justice Department had previously eyed Bolton in relation to possible violations of the Espionage Act, particularly in connection with his memoir. The Trump administration had attempted to block publication of the book, arguing it included classified information, but that legal effort failed. Under the Biden administration, that investigation was paused or shelved. What changed then to bring this case back so forcefully? The answer lies partly in the shifting political landscape and partly in the appetite of DOJ leadership to act quickly. Senior officials within the Justice Department have reportedly been pressing for a swift indictment of Bolton, even in the face of reluctance from prosecutors in the Maryland U.S. Attorney's Office, who believe more investigation is needed to solidify a case. That tension between departmental ambition and prosecutorial caution reveals how politically sensitive this probe is. The sense among some observers is that this is not only a legal enforcement action, but a broader warning shot, a signal that even former insiders are not beyond reach. Within Republican and conservative circles, this move has drawn sharp criticism and alarm. Some see it as part of a pattern in which the Trump-aligned Justice Department is turning legal machinery toward perceived enemies. Trump himself has publicly criticized Bolton even before the raid, and has disentangled Bolton's relationship with him since Bolton's post-White House critiques. To many, the optics are undeniable. A former top advisor, now in legal jeopardy after criticizing the sitting president, is the kind of drama that courts public attention and suspicion. Yet the legal stakes are real. The offenses under examination include the unauthorized retention and removal of defense documents and violating statutes that criminalize the negligent or intentional disclosure of classified information. The Espionage Act looms over the entire case. If prosecutors can demonstrate that Bolton knowingly held or transmitted classified documents without authorization, or that he did so in a way that risked national security harm, they may move forward with charges. One complicating factor is proving intent. Retaining classified papers can in many cases be an innocent or negligent act, especially for long-serving national security officials with thousands of documents. The difference between mismanagement and criminal conduct can be a fine line. Bolton's defenders will surely argue that he lacked malicious intent and that many of the materials seized were archival, unclassified, or otherwise cleared. The government must show more than just possession. It must tie the possession to wrongful use or dissemination. Another complication is the temporal scope. Many of the seized documents seem to go back decades, as Bolton's career has spanned multiple administrations. In his defense, Bolton claims these are routine records retained by a career official, but the challenge for prosecutors will be to show that whatever was seized crossed the line into contemporary harm. The political dimension cannot be ignored. The decision to reopen and escalate this investigation during a Trump presidency, especially one in which the DOJ seems to be more willing to target critics, raises the question of whether this is normal law enforcement or selective enforcement. Critics warn that the justice system is being weaponized. Supporters argue that nobody is above the law, and that the classified document statutes apply uniformly. That tension sits at the heart of public debate. Bolton's outspoken posture amplifies the drama. At a Harvard appearance, he insisted that his memoir contains nothing classified, pointing to the pre-publication review process and calling the ongoing investigation politically motivated. He has expressed indignation at being targeted and has framed the probe as retribution for speaking out. But prosecutors are not easily deterred by rhetoric, and his public posture may make them more defensive. As of now, no charges have been filed, but the pressure is mounting. The DOJ has reportedly asked that the case be presented to a grand jury imminently. Some prosecutors in Maryland have pushed back, saying the record is not yet complete and that caution is warranted. The internal push and pull is emblematic of the stakes. If an indictment is brought prematurely, the case could collapse under defense challenges. If it's delayed, it may be perceived as caving to political resistance. Yet an indictment now, or soon, would be consequential. Bolton is not just any former official. His status, his connections, his reputation as a hardline conservative, and his public profile make him a lightning rod. Charging him would underscore a willingness to prosecute figures once believed immune from such scrutiny. It could have chilling effects on the broader world of national security, memoirs, and post-government conduct. Whatever happens next, the case raises fundamental questions about how a democratic society treats the intersection of national security, personal accountability, political power, and public speech. When actors who once held the highest levels of classified clearance are caught in a legal vice, democracy must balance the need to protect secrets with fairness and guard against travesty. Bolton's story in recent weeks closes one chapter in the long history of national security figures facing document probes, from General David Petraeus to Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump himself. But it may open a new one, in which the balance between law, politics, and power is more fragile than ever. The outcome of this investigation will be closely watched, not just in Washington, but by anyone who cares about the rule of law, secrecy, and accountability. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on John Bolton's situation with the FBI right now? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.